Okay, let me just keep it rolling here. Got a day to just do whatever. and got a video idea. Actually, I think I did do did I? Yeah, I recorded a video. Guess I probably deleted it. I can't remember. But yeah, let me see if I want to talk about that. It's a video. Well, I'll just start there and see what happens. A video about the idea of a video about how unreliable the mind is. And it's funny, every time I use that word, the mind, there's a part of me that feels very, I like to be precise sometimes. Not always, but with language, there's something useful about being precise with language. And it's like, what am I even saying when I use the mind? And there's a way in which I don't, maybe that'd be another video topic to talk about what is the mind. But let's just, in a very normal, conventional sense, because it could be a bit of a bigger topic or a different exploration. But let's just say, just to be simple about it, or conventional about it, mind is unreliable. I came out to my car the other day, and I just got this car, not new, but new to me and in nice condition. And I noticed on it, I think this is something that most new car owners, again, it's not a new car, but you know what I mean, newly acquired car owners, I think this is not uniquely neurotic to me. Maybe it is. I don't think it is. But, you know, that you kind of, a little bit hyper vigilant, a little bit looking out for, I don't want any scratches, any dents, anything happening to this car, right? Got to take care of it. And at work, you have to park in a parking lot, and there's whatever activity happening in a parking lot. Anyway, so came out of work one day, and I noticed this little indentation that I had not noticed before. Logically, you know, that moment has to come at some point, or may come. I guess it's possible it never comes. That'd be nice. And please, Lord, I am not tempting fate here. Knocking on wood. I'm just trying to share a story here about the mind. But it didn't take too long. So yeah, a little bit of frustration there, a little bit of disappointment, a little bit of just that painful feeling. It didn't take too long before the mind kind of started to abstract away from that. Now, earlier in that day, while I was on my shift, while I was working, I saw a person come into shop. This person was somebody I had gotten into an altercation, is that the right word? A confrontation, a dust up with. They used to work there. and the situation was kind of unresolved. He ended out getting fired. Not exactly related to, well, if it was, I don't know if the relation. I, as much as possible, I try not to. It's just such an endless stream of gossip going on, and I'm pretty out of the loop. I was pretty out of the loop at that place, and that was by design. I just did everything I could to extract myself, to push away from, to reflect, to actively put up barriers against getting involved in the scuttlebutt, in the gossip. For reasons I've detailed in other videos, I just think it's really not a good thing, not healthy. But so I don't know exactly what happened. What I was told is that this guy had like 3 consecutive no call, no shows, which yeah, that'll do it. You'll get fired for doing that. But anyways, there was, yeah, stuff happened. I actually did a video about this too. So it was an interesting situation, but things kind of ended out unresolved, and that's a whole nother topic that I'm not totally clear. I did the best job there. We had this whole incident. I feel I did a decent job. I mean, yeah. I don't know that I did the best. Well, that was weird. I don't know if that, the time had frozen, so I think it wasn't recording. Now I'm confused. I don't know what happened here, so this video might be a little bit choppy. I'm not even sure why I paused it. But anyways, yeah, so it's kind of an unresolved situation with this guy. He gets fired, and he shows up at work. It seemed like because I think he has, well, he would shop there when he was working there, but it seemed like there was a time period after he got fired where I didn't see him, but started seeing him again. He showed up. Something else, well, let's see, how do I tie all these things together? So that day that I noticed the dent, I also noticed he was there. I'm kind of telling the story in reverse order, putting all the pieces together, the mind doing its thing, you know, crazy, crazy thing. It links together. But so I saw him there that day, and that came to mind after I found this little indentation on the car. But let me keep backtracking, and then I'll move forward and connect all these things. Right after I purchased this car, or acquired this car, it was right during that time, I think right before that he got fired. And there was a day I was driving home from work, turning into a major intersection onto kind of a highway, I guess. Is it a highway? I think it is a highway. Busy road right after work. And I made the turn, and just coming out of that turn, all of a sudden this car, out of nowhere, just flies straight, is coming straight at me in the next lane over, or 2 lanes over, but is coming fast at me in a way that you're just kind of reacting on instinct. You see it happening, you realize, holy shit, this guy isn't going to stop. What's happening? So I had to swerve. Luckily, there was shoulder there, or maybe another lane, I can't remember. But had I not swerved, this would have been a collision. I was blasting my horn. It was really unsettling. I can't remember, and again, I'm not tempting fate here, Lord, but I can't remember another time having something like that happen such a blatant, obvious, direct way. Like this guy was trying to run me off the road. Or do damage to my car. I mean, it's hard to say. That I can acknowledge that's just speculation, but what's true is that had I not swerved and continued to keep swerving and try to maneuver, it would have been a collision on this car that timing of it was super infuriating. So that added an element to it. It's like I just got this car, and it's meant so much to me to finally have this, to have a car that is in decent condition, and now I'm dealing with some fucking idiot trying to take me out here. So yeah, I was rattled, super pissed off, adrenaline running, and I'm honking the horn. Finally, the car takes off, it's like swerving and starts, speeding away. I start to chase it. I'm livid. I'm fucking pissed off. I'm cussing. I'm, like I said, honking my horn, at least at the time when it was happening. But I'm fucking pissed. I'm honking my horn. I decide to call the cops. I'm going to follow this guy and see if I can get somebody out, to follow along with me. But as these things happen, somehow they couldn't hear me on the other line, and I'm like pissed off trying to drive, trying to follow them, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with my goddamn phone in this moment when I really need it to work. And they keep saying, hello, hello, hello. Obviously, they can't hear me. So I have to pull over. I lose sight of the person and place a call, finally get through. The dispatch, or whatever that title is, the person that answers, she's being a total B word. Very that's such an important role to have skills in de-escalation, because people are calling you and they're often panicked or not in a very good state of mind. You need to be skillful about not furthering or escalating. That's it seems to me, and this is some of my frustration coming through here for sure, but that would be a really important role to have a skill set of calming people, calming demeanor, but that was not the case. She was definitely hostile and saying just these kind of, I don't know, passive aggressive. Anyways, so I'm pissed off. I'm letting her have it. I'm letting her know. I'm saying, hey, when people call you, we're not in our best, frame of mind. You need to be respectful when you're talking. I'm trying to express something, and you're giving me this attitude. You're giving me this tone, or whatever I say to her at the time. But anyways, a really disturbing thing. Now, there's a few possibilities here that have come to my mind. One is this person is drunk. It's the middle of the day. Weekday seems kind of like a weird time, but perhaps they're drunk or high or something. It could potentially, possibly, part of me doesn't think this is the case, but that they just somehow is in their blind spot. But the aggressiveness of it and I don't know, having lived through it, doesn't really seem like somebody who just made a blind spot error. Doesn't seem to really account for what I experienced. The other thought is, oh fuck, I wonder if this is that guy, that from work where there was this kind of hostile relationship. He seems to me like somebody who is unstable enough that somehow in my brain it occurred to me at that moment, like, wow, I wonder if that person, it wasn't that far from where I worked. I wonder if somehow this is like what's the word here? Disgruntled, aggrieved former employee that was trying to take me out or do something to even the score, so to speak, or whatever, Very disturbing thought, and I just chose to live in the mystery, and I'm still choosing that. And at the time, I was able to move on from that. I said, "Fuck it. God, if this is something that's important to you, that you're letting this crazy ass bullshit happening. I'm already stressed out with 20 other things, but you need me to track this down. Okay, fine, but bring it up again in a clear way where I'm not having to play Dick Tracy or, do the investigative legwork here and all the heartache and stress and shit that would go along with pursuing that. I just don't want to deal with all that, But if that's what's going on here, and for some reason there's a greater purpose, just make it clear to me, Somehow make it clear to me that this is the right thing. So anyways, that had happened a few weeks ago. Then fast forward to this day at work that I just laid out, where I go out, there's an indentation that was not there. Happens to coincide with the day that this guy comes into shop. So you can see, hopefully, if I've laid this out at all coherently, you can see how the paranoid mind latches onto that. And now I'm thinking, fuck, maybe I do need to handle this. Is this potentially a pattern of, what would the word be here? Property damage? I mean, that first incident, that could have resulted not just property damage, but grievous bodily harm. You know, so some serious stuff here. It's like, is there a pattern here of assault? Isn't the word. What am I looking for? Harassment is not strong enough. Of targeted attack, I guess. I don't know. That's what my mind latches onto and will not let go. And so what I do is, and with something like a dent in the on your car, I don't know for sure that it even happened that day. I know that's when I noticed it. But there's many other explanations. Somebody's car door, the way I was parked, that really didn't make sense at the time. Could have been a car door, could have been a shopping cart, could have been, many other things. But once my mind fixates on something, so I was under this cloud now of paranoia, going through potentially this bullshit nightmare. And so the next day I had a day off of work, and rather than just relaxing, I drove in, talked to one of the store managers or assistant managers who was obliging of the request, and I asked him if we could look at the video cameras. Store obviously has surveillance footage. Explained to him what the deal was, and he took it seriously and walked out, and I showed him what the situation, I showed him the car, showed him where it was parked, showed him the dent. We went back and we looked through the footage. There was like a 2-hour window that I wanted to check. Just to be very clear, what I was hoping was to disconfirm this crazy fucking mind and say, look, here's yet another example of times that you throw me into a dark panic over bullshit. Here's yet exhibit, and this is exhibit 5026 F. that of times you've led me astray. That's what I was hoping, is just to disconfirm that there's either nothing there or we find some very innocent, obvious cause. So we're looking through. And there we do find something that is potentially, again, it may not have even happened this day. I'm not totally clear. It seems like I would have noticed it previously, but it's possible I could have missed it. But we do find something actually in that window, but totally innocent. Just some kid with his mom, or a kid with somebody, loading groceries, and where the door rests, and it's on the far side of the camera too, so I'm not even 100% sure this is when it happened. But what's for sure is it was not the scenario my mind was feeding me. And I could give you 20 other examples of bullshit games that the mind plays. And so I called its bluff in this case. Was I feeding this pattern within me by going in and requesting the surveillance camera footage? Yeah, I think I probably was, and I don't think that's the healthiest thing. I don't feel bad about it, though, and the result of it was useful, but you wish it just never came to that. And I felt relief. I felt peace, about having, done that. So and part of it, I can have a little bit of compassion. And part of it is just hard work living in this world of subterfuge where you don't know where so few people are trustworthy, where there are so many people for whom it seems at least possible, if not plausible, but at least possible, that they are being dishonest. And that fucking sucks. This world is rough. This world sucks in that way. Um, but the mind is it's funny because you got this kind of spiritual notion of not wanting to say anything too harsh or too strong. There's some wisdom there. You don't want to fixate and create this like strong enemy out of the mind, but at a certain point you just time and time again the ways that it leads you into really unhealthy, ungood territory. You don't have to be so, you don't have to, wear kid gloves talking about things like this. The mind is evil. Not always, but so often. And see, here's where I sort of want to bifurcate here, or like asterisks, hypertext link to another conversation of what I actually mean by the mind and what are these actual dynamics that are going on here. And I think there are deeper dimensions to all of this, but without getting into kind of that exploration, I'm just using the mind as a practical term for this conversation's sake. Yeah, but it's a liar. It's a bullshit artist. It wants to immiserate you. It wants you to be miserable. Now, again, you have these other notions you'll hear in spiritual conversations about, well, no, it's just the mind is confused and it's doing its best to protect you. No. Sorry. That's just not accurate. And at some point, that kind of thinking, I don't find that to be helpful, really. It's abusive. The mind can be very abusive. It can be very, very abusive. So you don't want to put your trust there. Now, there are ways in which our cognitive capacities can be useful. Yes, of course. So you almost want to bracket what I'm talking about here: the worried mind, the anxious mind, the evil mind, the self-sabotaging mind. But part of me, so let me open up a little bit of a discussion here, because I don't really want to associate or identify in any way with the mind that I'm describing here. It's not personal. It's not me. It's definitely not you. That is not you. And you don't have to say that it is or say this is a wounded aspect. Now, as you heal, does the mind become more quiescent? Do you see through the bullshit of the mind? Yes, ideally, and practically I can say there's truth there. But you never have to identify with it. My mind, no. That's not you. It's really not. It's not. It just isn't. That's good. Because it part of what it does is it has your ruination, your immiseration in mind as part of its, trajectory. So don't invest in it. Don't trust it. Don't trust its lies. Yeah. I feel strongly about this. I mean, part of it is because you hear such a sort of Pollyanna, what's a good word here? Mild, temperate, spiritually correct take on some of these matters sometimes, and I don't think it's really helpful. I have not found it to be helpful. Now, what could be helpful here, and sort of in that direction, is you don't want to set up this strong oppositional thing with your mind. It's not at that level. In, it's the way you call the bluff on the mind is you surrender and you say, okay, then kill me. Who are you? You inquire into it. Mind hates that. Who are you? Who are you really? The mind says, no, this is urgent. This has to be resolved. Okay, good, good, good. What is that feeling of urgency? Where's that arising from? Who are you? Oh, and if I don't do exactly what you're asking me, exactly how you're asking me to do it, exactly when you're asking me to do it,